welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dream for Women in Recovery YouTube channel. So today I'm pulling from our deck, or from my deck, Roots and Wings. And the card that came out is Perseverance.
Ooh.
Perseverance. I've actually never pulled that card before from this deck. I've never
I
seen
love
this
when
one
that happens.
before. Um, hmm. How do you persevere? That's what's coming to my mind right now.
Yeah. I think it feels pretty perfect. Like what's coming up for me is just um kind of what we've been talking about a little bit, just the dedication and the devotion to like coming back to center, like coming back to focus, like the energies felt so chaotic and intense, and just like there's so many things that want to like pull my attention or
Mhm.
pull me off my center, or grab my energetic whatever attention. And so it's like the perseverance to like keep coming back to um the path, the center, like whatever that looks like, no matter the traffic and
Mm,
noise, on the outside, just like
yeah,
that's like that was like the first thing that came to my mind, because there is like
I
a
love
level of
that.
perseverance in that, right?
hmm Yeah, that's really great. And I think like something that I've talked about before too, especially in recovery, right? It's like when we feel like we fail, or just any time in life, right? And for all sorts of recovery, right? You're trying to do something new. You're like, I'm not going to get angry at this person anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to whatever it is. And then you fail and you do the thing you said you didn't want to do. I think the most important part of the recovery process is picking yourself back up and not judging yourself, right? It's not being perfect at it. It's not doing it in the first place. It's what do you do when maybe you make a mistake? Maybe other people can't forgive you, but can you forgive yourself? Can you pick yourself back up? And that's true perseverance. That is true recovery. I feel like it's those
Yeah,
messy times, you know?
totally. Totally. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that. You're right. Because that's for me the hardest part, right? Like it's
Hardest
so
part.
easy to judge and criticize and be like, why did you? Or like think I needed to not do it in the first place. And then we go back, slip back into that old paradigm of behavior modification, which we
Yeah.
know like that's the outside in method, which we know doesn't, did never work for me. So it's like coming back
hmm
to that, self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, picking yourself back up, which is really true perseverance. Absolutely. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about our thoughts, right? And how we can become the witness and step back, step behind your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, right? You are the witness. That's truly who you are. So it's so easy to over identify with our thoughts. And that I think is something that you have to come back to over and over and over and over and over and over again. I was doing so in meditation this morning. I didn't have as much time as I usually have. I only had 15 minutes because I had an early morning meeting. But I really still wanted to meditate. And I was noticing this. I noticed like a thought would come in and I would start thinking about like, oh, I need to like ask my community leads this and need to make sure we have this. And I was like, wait a second. Nope, don't think that thought. Let me step back from behind it. But as soon as I was done from that thought, another one would just pop in. Oh, I can't believe your tax accountant did that to you again. Like, God, what a bitch. Like, I can't stand her. What are you gonna do about, like, are you sure it? And I'm like, wait a minute, thinking another thought. Let me step behind that one. And then next thing I know, another thought. And I'm like running away with it before I can really catch myself. So like just that perseverance was over and over and over again within a 15-minute meditation.
Yes.
I was like, oh wait, there I am again. Now I'm just thinking about something else. Because we were talking about this last night in circle about how it's so easy to just over identify with those thoughts. We become those thoughts, right? That takes over our life, and that is so not who we are. It's really an interesting concept to understand. I feel like, I don't know, it's just becoming the witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an aspect that people don't often, maybe correlate like perseverance with something like that. But it's like that's like truly picking yourself back up, like truly taking like I
Yeah.
think that patience, the patience with yourself, with your practice, with your spiritual journey to like keep coming, even if it takes the whole 15 minutes and all you're doing is keep coming back after the thought, like
That's
that's the
it.
practice, right? Like it's not a
Right.
fail.
Yeah.
That's the perseverance. That's the practice. It's just like to come
Yes.
back.
Yes, it's not a fail. So many people that I work with, my clients, will tell me, like, I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at meditation. Right. So do we give up easily? Like, are you like, oh, I'm just not good at not drinking. I'm just not good at not reacting. I'm just not good at this. Right. Like, no, you're not good at it. Right. That's why it's a practice. Right. That's why it's called a spiritual practice. I always say life is your spiritual practice. So, of course, you're not good at it, but who cares? It's a practice. So you're practicing. But yeah, because it really was like that in the meditation. Like it would have been so easy to just be like, ah, that sucked. I'm going to forget this. Like, I'm just going to stop now. Right. And I was like, no, hell no, I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of all these thoughts. Well, not get rid of them, transcend them.
Right. 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 Well, and I think you know, like you kind of like hit the nail on the head when you were talking about the identification, because like that's the thing is like, you know, for me, I can get identified with the thought, and then I'm like, oh, I'm failing. I'm just going to give up. You know, just I'm not like we get in
Mm-hmm.
that pattern. I'm not good at it. Or it's not happening today. It's not happening today. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
make it happen, right? Like keep coming back and just like sit with the practice, because I mean that's like building self trust, right? Like self
Yeah.
integrity, like all those things of saying, like I said, I was going to sit down for 15 minutes and meditate. I'm going to sit the whole 15 minutes, even if my mind is racing the whole time and I'm just getting behind every thought. Like I'm still dedicated to the practice of sitting for 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
5 or whatever your number is, you know, uh,
Yeah.
and just being with the discomfort, not identifying with it. Like that's where I was at this morning too. It just like felt so busy, and it was just like breathe it up and out, breathe it up and
Yes.
out, you know. And it just, I just, I had a very similar experience this morning myself. I was like, okay.
And it's cold outside
Yeah.
where I am, anyways, at the time of this filming. And I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's freezing out.
It's
And
cold over
life is
here in
harder,
Jackson too.
harder when it's cold.
Like, oh, the pajamas feel so good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what I mean. This is a great segue to talk about constellations, even because it's like it's one of the things I really love about like constellation work is because you know, like the whole point of it is to drop like out of the story, out of the head, out of the drama, like out of the narrative, you know, and just
Yeah,
really like get down to a soul level. So I feel like that's been really instrumental in just blossoming into other areas of my life, right? Like it started out of
yeah,
like, oh, I like the, you know, I like doing constellations, and yeah, I think I want to get trained in that or whatever. And now it's kind of turned into like kind of like my foundation, right? And even like
yeah,
my teacher used to say that the principles, how did she say it? She used to say the principles for constellation are like the keys to like higher vibrational living, you know? And
hmm,
yeah, you know, because it's like there's just only three and they're very simple. It's like everything belongs, right? Like, you know, there's no
yeah,
good, bad, ugly, like it all belongs, right? We put everything in
hmm,
right order and natural order. And we acknowledge what is, you know, because it's like so often our inability to not acknowledge the hard truths or acknowledge what
yeah,
is like how dysfunction gets passed down, right? Because nobody wants to talk about creepy Uncle Joe or that Aunt Betty lost the baby, right? Like all these little family secrets that used to be really shameful
yeah,
decades ago that like openly we may talk about today, but used to be very shameful things. Like I said, in our ancestors, that stuff gets like passed down in the field, right? And so,
hmm.
yeah, it's like what we call like having tension in our field. So it's like
Wow.
getting down to that soul level.
And I think so. Jess, why don't you explain what constellation work is? Because this is something for anybody out there that doesn't know this and who's listening. We are in the process of creating a 13-week immersion program. It's going to be starting January 6th. And it's part of this unstoppable dream, um, circle that we have going on. Now, you don't have to join the immersion to join the free circle. So I just want to state that. But the immersion program is just going to go a little bit deeper than the information you get in the guide when you join us in our free Wednesday night circles. So we're going to be talking about the 7 main chakras in the body, and we're going to coincide those with one of the 6 spheres of wellness as well. And not only will we be giving you information about that and really how to transmute and transform that chakra energy and what that all means and how it coincides with the sphere of wellness. We're also going to be talking about our natal moon and going through that and constellating all of those, doing a constellation. So, what does that mean to do a constellation with that?
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So, some people refer to it as like ancestral energy work or something like
Okay.
that, but it's a deep intuitive process conducted at the soul level in what we call the knowing field or the quantum field. So if you know
Mm-hmm.
anything about like quantum physics or whatever, like the 0 point field, it's that 0 point of pure potentiality. And so it's like that's where we're going when we say we go into the field to do a constellation, because we're in that place where anything is possible, right? Like we have access to
Right.
all possibilities. And it said that when we constellate, we affect 7 generations after us and 7 generations before us. And so the idea behind it is that everything is love. It's just either conscious or unconscious love. And so in love is kind of the basis in all systems, like family systems, business systems, like whatever. And so conscious love would be like, the good qualities and the traits that you get passed down to from your ancestors, and the unconscious things would be like the addiction and the family
Mm,
secrets and the trauma and stuff like that we're
yeah.
unconscious about, our own shadow that gets passed down. And so to constellate would be where we step into the energies that we're representing, and we, like, the people that participate are called representatives. And so it's like we're literally able to step into the energy of our natal moon. We're literally able to step into our sacral chakra, right? Like whatever it is we're
Okay.
constellating, or grandpa Joe, or like whatever we're
Mm-hmm.
constellating, because you can literally constellate anything. I constellate birth charts all the time. It's super cool, right?
Mm,
And so it's like
yes.
we're lending our nervous system to the energy. And so it's not channeling, because we're not in our head, we're not dictating, we're not taking any information from our mind. We're literally just noticing with our body awareness. So it's like, what do I feel? What am I drawn to? What can I see with my vision? And so it's a very embodied experience. It's a very empathy
Wow.
building experience, because we literally get to step into the field of something or somebody else and feel what that feels like, have an embodied experience of your natal moon or your sacral chakra, and get to kind of like
That's
attune.
great.
Did that answer the question clearly?
That does answer the question. It's kind of like what we were just talking about with becoming the witness
Yes.
like getting out of here, right? And dropping down into the body.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
powerful work. I've been a participant in it. I'm not trained in it to lead it, but I've been a participant and it is really, really powerful. Even when you're doing it for someone else, like to tune into that energy, it like shifts things within yourself too. So it's really powerful to have that support from other women and, you know, doing all of this together to really heal ourselves. So it's really powerful.
Yes. Well, and I feel that's another thing I love about it, because it is very like multidimensional like that. It's like even if you're just representing for, like you said, somebody else's constellation, it's like I've always experienced some kind of shift or healing, even if it has nothing to do with me. It's like
Yes.
we all get picked for a reason. And so it's just a really beautiful process to be able to embody different energy than yours and have a different experience with it, have that clear, instead of letting someone necessarily tell you, oh, this is what your natal moon is. Like we can look it up and all those things are great, but to
Yeah.
like have a personal experience of what your natal moon at your chart, whatever degree it is. And what's cool is you don't have to know anything about it, like, because we're not in our mind. You don't have to have any experience with it. You don't have to have a training. Like anybody can step in and represent. And that's one thing I really love about it, is like no experience
Hmm.
necessary, right? Like, because
Yeah.
you're just noticing. Anybody can do it.
Yes. And it's a really engaging, oh, all right. Oh, there we go. I have my okay, sorry. I have my TV fireplace on. I don't know if anybody else out there does that. I'm like, oh, I have my fireplace on. It's just on the TV though on YouTube. And I thought it was going to get really loud with some commercials, but I saved it. Okay. And now I lost my train of thought. Well, I'll say this. I don't know if this is where I was going before, but I love the part of like it all belongs. Like everything belongs because I think the hardest part, about life just is accepting what is happening. And then we tell, like, this is where we can really get heady about things. And we try to, like, solve the problems from the mind that created the problems in the first place. Right. And so to be able to get out of that and just like be in the body and transform it that way by like full acceptance and shifting the energy, is just, it's really like the best way to do it. So that's why I
Yeah.
love constellation work, right? It's like, yeah, you can just, you can feel, if you really pay attention, you can feel when you are resisting what is, right? Like I was in my thoughts yesterday about my tax accountant. I was doing this yesterday and I was just like, oh my God, I'm just like struggling. I'm fighting myself essentially because I'm resisting this happened. This has happened. This is going to happen. I can't change this. You know, and when we put it into the field in constellation work, it's so powerful. It's such a powerful way of acceptance, and having that support from other women is just, it's going to be really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited about that piece of it, of the immersion program. Yeah.
I am too. I am too. Yeah. I think it's going to be really profound.
Yeah.
Because in that embodied experience, it's just such a great tool for like life because you can feel the tension. Like in our, like for
Yeah.
me in my normal life, it's like I can get lost, like you said, in the thoughts and the minds and like, not really feel it. But when you're just in the
Right.
field and then pure focus, it's like, oh, I feel that tension. Like I really feel that resistance. Like I feel that I'm
Yeah.
like not like this is not a belonging. Why am I not allowing it? And so it's just such a visceral
Yes.
experience. And so yeah, it's just such an expansive embodied experience. The more you represent, the more you step in, the more you just kind of expand in that way. And so I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Uh, all right. Well, I guess I'll leave everybody with this. Remember that you are the witness. So how can you just remind yourself of that if you feel yourself spiraling? And, you know, you know, don't be afraid to pick yourself back up. Like that is not failure is turn your failure into success by picking yourself back up and persevering. God, I hate these headphones. Persevere. Remember the bowl.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Again, if you haven't joined us yet for our free Wednesday circles, we hope that you will. Those are every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then, of course, we have our immersion program starting on Monday, January 6th, and that will be from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Monday nights. And all the information is going to be in our description. So you can just go check it out and let us know if you have any questions and leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.